and trees bear strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze.
Morning, I stay in Chicago, 6035 South Melvina. I rise for the human race. By human, I mean H-U-E. We were all hewed from the ground by God, nobody over another person. When we get this in our head, there's nobody special. You're only as good as your talents, and you do it to God's people. Now I say, I'm not against the police, but policing is not what you want. To police something, you watch here, you watch there, you watch there, and you really don't do anything, you're policing. What we need is more cops. A cop is a citizen on patrol. He has an investment in the community. He has empathy, and he can see his own family through another family. And I think that's what we're missing here, to judge somebody because of their color or whatever, and do differently, right? So what I'm here to say is that if you have a human heart, you can see your daughter in somebody else's daughter, and then you won't react. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, but let's stop this so it won't happen again. Now, Mary Alice is not here with us, but we're here. And we're not going to let this be swept up under the rug and turn her into a criminal when you know she wasn't. She was a young lady who needed help. And I'm not here to criticize, I'm here to say stop it. We call for help like the mother said. Please don't kill my daughter. Every time we call, we have to have that on our mind. And that is not the way it's supposed to be. We are all human beings. Nobody's better than nobody else. Mary Alice, rest in peace.
Good evening. My name is Rachelle Richardson. In my speech at the last Village Hall meeting, I told you all how much Mary Alice meant to me. I'll remind you in case you weren't listening or just don't care as your face is suggested. I've known Mary Alice Love for all of my life, as our mothers have been best friends for over 60 years. We played together, we shared babysitters. She even watched me cut off a chunk of my hair when we were just little peanuts when the babysitters wasn't watching. But a day hasn't gone by where I don't think about my friend and my cousin, Mary Alice. However, many days have gone by, 63 to be exact, and there have been no answers or no accountability for her murder on May 11th, 2026. For example, Savannah Guthrie's mother went missing on February 1st of 2026, and by February 5th, the FBI was holding a national press conference to discuss the details of her disappearance. And that was only 4 days. As a reminder, we've been waiting for 63. And it absolutely baffles me how you, Mayor Meyer, and your committee can sit here unmoved about the loss of human life. As if this was your family member, Mayor Meyer, perhaps your niece. I would hope you'd be outraged, but instead maybe you just say that she chose to estrange herself and that you haven't spoke to her in years in an effort to create distance and not face reality. But the shooting of my cousin, Mary Alice, is my reality. And our family deserves to know the full extent of what happened that day, and we will not sweep this under the rug. We won't be silent, and we won't forget. And you, well, he's not here today, of course. This part is addressed to the police chief, or former police chief, Jason Seeley. What if it was your niece? But I'll talk to you. What if it was your niece? Would you want her to be treated with, quote, courtesy, dignity, and respect, as it states in your message to the residents of Mundelein on your village police website? And what about the pride that you have in your, quote, high ethical standards, integrity, and community service? Do you serve the community by shooting first and assessing the situation and asking questions later? Please help me understand which part of we continually assess our performance while exploring new or alternative methodologies to reduce crime, solve problems, and build trust. Which part of that led to your officer taking the actions that he took that day? Is this the courage, pride, and commitment that is listed on your uniform? Well, now this is your employee. His actions are a direct reflection of your leadership, of you and your leadership. And even though I guess maybe he was forced to retire and someone is taking his role as the police department, chief of police, Mary Alice's blood is still on your hands. And you need to take accountability for her murder. You can run, but you can't hide. That person that you killed, Mary Alice Love, was a human being and was a loving human being. And as you can tell by all the people here today, she was also loved by many. She lived her life fearlessly and marched to the beat of her own drum. She was authentically herself, and you took that from us. I can say with almost certainty that all of us in this room have or know someone who deals with mental health challenges. Whether it's something like depression, anxiety, general trauma, PTSD, as some of your officers might have, who knows, bipolar disorder, ADHD, or addiction. I would imagine that you yourself or that person that you know would want to actually be treated with courtesy, dignity, and respect. Those are 3 values that were promised by the chief of police, but none of which were brought with them when those officers showed up to duty on May 11th. Please do better. Take accountability. Justice for Mary Alice. Say her name.
Mary Alice Love.
Turek from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you to the Village Board once again for allowing me the opportunity to speak this evening. However, before I begin my remarks in earnest, I must correct the record for my previous remarks. Unlike the Mundelein Police Department, it seems, I can admit when I make a mistake. At the last meeting, I was quoted in the paper as saying that I never thought such tragedy could occur in quaint Mundelein. However, after listening to other people's testimony that evening, including the former Lake County coroner, it is apparent that I was very wrong when I made that statement. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. In doing some research for tonight's meeting, I found out that not all taxpayer monies are wasted on police brutality. Some of your money actually goes to helpful information. For instance, I have here a list of all 202 employees of the Village of Mundelein for the fiscal year 2027. The salaries fall under quite the wide range. At the low end of the totem pole, the village trustees earn $12,923 per year. With a salary that tight, I can only imagine you're doing it for the love of the game. Trustee Jennifer Grieco, you probably spent more than $13,000 in legal fees alone stemming from your DUI arrest in November, when you drunkenly rear-ended someone with your Range Rover. That's right, folks, we have a drunk on the village board. Although if I had to deal with the shit show that's the Mundelein Police Department, I'd be hitting the sauce too. At the top of the pyramid, clearing over $296,000 per year, is the village administrator, Eric Gunther, who, by the way, just so happens to be the former Mundelein chief of police. Talk about a conflict of interest. I'm also a public sector employee, and every year we take ethics training. One of the things they emphasize is we should take steps to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. How can the former police chief be involved in an investigation into the current police, especially when he was probably the one in charge of putting in place the so-called training for the offending officers? Not a good look. The second highest employee, as of when I wrote this, clearing over $236, is the current, now former chief of police, Jason Seeley. That's more than $500,000 paying just 2 people. I don't think this town is getting a satisfactory return on that investment. Chris Bragano, who I will refuse to refer as officer, as an officer actually needs to uphold the standards of the office, makes more than $159,000 per year. Again, all funded by taxpayers in this room. The kicker is he doesn't even live in Mundelein. If anyone here is watching or came from Grays Lake, be careful when you walk down the streets. You're living in the presence of an armed murderer. The townspeople are paying someone else's salary who doesn't even live in the town. Maybe he's too scared to face his constituents. 20 years ago, if you wanted to get paid by the taxpayers to go travel and murder a person of color in cold blood, you'd usually have to join the military and go to Iraq or Afghanistan. Now we have commuter murderers. Of the 202 employees in this town, 77 of them are under the position of police. That's 38%. 52 of those 77 are police officers. Only 2 of the 77 are social workers. Is that the message that Mundelein wants to send? That we need more than 25 times as many people with guns as people who are actually trained to listen? The other good use of taxpayer dollars I availed myself was the Lake County election results. It didn't take me that long to go through because only 18% of registered voters turned out, which seemed to track based on my observations from last time, as nearly the entire audience cleared out after the public comment. During everyone's remarks last time, I noticed the entirety of the board was stone-faced and did not make a single utterance. I can draw only one of two conclusions. The first is that everyone up there is heartless and without a conscience. But I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt. The second is that you were probably sat down and addressed by legal counsel and told not to say anything or react to anything so it does not damage your case. However, in addition to the law, every one of you up here is also on trial in the court of public opinion. There's no statute of limitations or inadmissible evidence in that court, and the jury will judge you at the ballot box. Mayor Meyer, you received less than 2,500 votes last election. There are about 25,000 voting-aged citizens in Mundelein. That's not even 10% of the town. You do not have a mandate from the people. And mark my words, I will canvass every single door in this town, and I will make this a single-issue election. I think you can see how much more the population are involved when it comes to this issue. Don't wait for the law to tell you to do the right thing. Do it now and see if you can still salvage some of your credibility in the eyes of electorate. Otherwise, Mundelein will be forever tarred by the brush of injustice, and you'll have to find a real job come 2029. One more thing. I noticed last time the police officer patch on the uniform lists courage as one of the qualities. I think until the department does the right thing, which if they were worth their salt, they would do on their own. After all, why would the good cops want to be anchored down by the bad ones? They should have to get a seam ripper and take the word off that uniform. Jason Seeley, and you, unfortunately, has to be in a fill-in. Do you think hiding behind a badge and a gun, or your lawyer, makes you courageous? No, it makes you a small man, it makes you a weak man, and it makes you a coward. Real courage, in my mind, is Johnny and Jeffry Love walking into this building, this den of evil, and holding their heads up high in the face of overwhelming unfairness and tragedy. They're more courageous than you ever will be, Chief. Thank you for your time, and may God have mercy on your souls.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny Love, husband of Jeffry Love, parents of Mary Alice Love. I would like to ask everyone here, do you value your children? We do. Mary Alice was the most beautiful child ever born. I'm sure many of you have that same sentiment. Mary Alice was born an American citizen. And as the parents of American citizens, we wanted her to have the American dream. We wanted her to have a life better than our own. We put great value, great worth into our child. Our child had a bad day. Had a bad day. And as parents who have the utmost love for our child and want her to live a better life than we did, my wife said, what can I do? What can I do for my child? She made a call. That call went out to, unfortunately, the Mundelein police. Mundelein police came. Did they value our child?
No.
No.
I'm going to ask you another thing. You value your child. Do you think Sergeant Bernardo, I apologize for saying his name. Sergeant Bernardo here, Chris Bernardo, do you think he would come into your house under similar circumstances, the exact same circumstances, and murder your child under the exact same circumstances, do you think he would value your child? Your child. If he walked into your home, would he value your child? The child that doesn't look like mine. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm going to stop because I will say things I don't want to say. But I'm going to say this, and it might sound foolish, frivolous, but it's what I want to say. Mayor, there's a nursery rhyme. The nursery rhyme is Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Don't just sit there, Mayor. Do something. Do something. Last thing. Even Andy Griffin had sense enough to take the bullets for Barney Fife.
Hello, I'm Johnny Love Jr., son of Jeffry and Johnny Love, older brother to Mary Allison. Last time I spoke, I mentioned some of our demands, and that I said that the officers need to retract the statement they made about my sisters having 2 knives. Even though through the edited documentary, the former chief of police shown, family, friends, legal team told me that indeed my sister had 2 knives. And being the better person, I apologize. I misspoke. I was wrong. I only wish you could do the same. I wish that you could issue some type of response, action, thoughts, concern, compassion to my family. Compassion that I had to come all the way from Morning Grove, be neglected to go to my parents' house because you treated my family like criminals. Then to make my way to the hospital and wait in the cold for an hour and a half because everybody else can go in, but family and friends of Johnny, Jeffrey, and Mary Alice Love were denied access. I finally went in, but before I went in, one of your courageous officers had the decency to tell me what has happened to my sister. I cried like a newborn baby. I'm doing everything in my power not to cry now, because that. Nevertheless, we were able to go in, and even then, it was hell for my parents to view the body. It's not like the TV shows where a victim passed away and the police rushed the parents to view the body. No, you guys pussyfooted and denied my family the right to see their dead daughter, my little sister. Compassion doesn't seem like it comes in the Mundelein board. It seems like it comes from the people who live here. I ask that you change that. I ask that you do better. You do more. You have some compassion. You have some decency. You take care of my family. You honor our demands. If you don't, we will be back, and we will keep demanding for demands. I see Channel 7 here. We will ask them to keep coming. We will keep being a thorn in your side until some type of justice is done. As my father stated, I don't need this. As my father stated, my sister had an episode. She had a bad day. Everybody here has a family member that has some type of mental issue. and because, I don't want to use race, but because some officer forgot his protocol, even though he's been with the force over a decade, he forgot his protocol. He decided shoot first was the answer. You have to do better. You have to do better. If not for my family, for all your citizens in Mundelein, but especially for my family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Harris of Grays Lake. I am closely related in friendship and love with the Love family. It's egregious that we're here today and having to discuss the egregious thing that happened, the tragedy, the killing, the murder of Mary Alice Love. When I came into this family, Mary Alice wasn't even born. I recall Jeffrey going through 2 tragedies of losing 2 babies, and Mary Alice was the miracle baby that came along. She was born on Christmas Day. I thought about the joy that she brought into the lives, her christening, her birthdays. When we're young, we teach our children, I learned as a little girl, officer friendly, police. You're supposed to respect the police. The police are your safety net. Those are the people that you go to in times of need. In the Love family, when there was a need, they called and contacted the police, as well as the mental health crisis hotline. What they got was their daughter killed in cold blood. Now, I don't know all the ramifications of what an investigation takes, but you guys have the footage, you have all the information that was related to it. It's not a difficult case to ascertain what happened. You have more information than you even allowed the family to see initially. And there still hasn't been any real movement on this case in order to give the family resolution, because my friend, my sister, she sits here today devastated because she had to witness her child. She had to witness her daughter being gunned down in her home because she called for help. Mayor, you made a statement in regards to your niece who actually showed up at the first protest in support, to show support for the family. And you issued a statement talking about her mental health. How dare you? How dare you take her situation and try to use it against her? You should have been there. You said you had 2 other accomplished people in the community that you had to see about. You had a tragedy in your community that you should have seen about, that you should have come. It didn't have to be political. It's called being human and having decency and a thoughtfulness to show the family, hey, I can't go into detail about any of this. It's an ongoing investigation, but I'm here to let you know that we care. I care. I believe in justice and we'll see it through, but I want you to know how I feel and where I stand. But you didn't do that. You took the cowardice way out and you sent some message on Facebook or whatever social media app it was to bring down your niece. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to the seat that you sit in, even as a part-time mayor. You let the people of Mundelein down. You let the people in the surrounding community down. This family, they will recover because they're resilient and we serve a mighty God. So they will recover eventually. But they have to relive this over and over and over again. I implore everyone in here that sits on this board to really think about the children that you have, the grandchildren. And if this were them, if this happened to you. We're human. You have to take the human stance. You have to look at it from a human standpoint. Get away from political. Do what's right. Bring justice. And create protocols that are actually adhered to. There needs to be strict and dire consequences for personnel who show up and disregard any of the protocols that are in place. Because as we saw from video, there were several violations that took place. This did not have to end this way. Mary Alice Love should still be here. She would have been 37, 38 years old this year. We won't get to see that. We won't get to celebrate her birthday with her. She was a loving person. She was fiercely protective of those that she loved. If she considered you a friend, God forbid anyone should come in your face or get in your way. She was there for you. She was what we call ride or die. And unfortunately, she died at the hands of law, the people that are supposed to serve and protect us. So I ask that you please, Mayor, I don't want to disrespect you, but I ask that you truly bring this to a resolution or affect it. And if she can't, I ask that all of you, including the officers, sergeants, chief of police that I'm looking at right now, please hold your people accountable. We can't have people walking in fear. We can't have people afraid to dial 911 when there's an emergency for fear that because of the way they look, that they may die or cause someone else's fatality. So I ask that you all really take a look inward and ask yourselves, if this were my child, what would I do? How would I feel? And I think it's pretty evident that we all know. Your children are your everything. That's your lineage. That's your legacy. That's your love. That's your gift from God. Thank you.
My name is Vuyani Wakaba. I have lived in Mundelein for over 2 decades. I've been paying taxes here. I just want to say, Jason Seeley, who was the former police chief of Mundelein, who retired on Friday, is a coward. He's a coward. He's a failed leader who did not see through what he and his department have done. His last days, there are deaths on the streets in his last days. And yet he's retiring. Don't be like him, please. We can't afford that. Now I stand here, my family has lost a beloved family member. It's too late for us. We are fighting so that this doesn't happen to another family. You understand that? By the way, in case you wonder what we see when we look at you, we see your eyes, your faces, you're listening to us, your inaction is telling us everything we need to know about you. Everything.
On your phones? That's right.
To make us, while we're grieving, have to come here time and time again is offensive. It's offensive. I have some prepared remarks that I'm just going to skim through for the benefit of the community here. The mayor, her history is that she wrote disaster emergency procedures and standards for working with major telecommunications companies, Homeland Security, and other government agencies. With that experience, this is what she's doing. Nothing. If you take a look at a statement made by, please forgive me if I mispronounce it, Daniel Joseph Juarez, he says, "My experience has taught me the importance of proactive problem solving. We know that's bullshit.
2 social workers on staff, by the way.
We know that's bullshit. The village administrator, his salary is $296,047.96. Meanwhile, your mayor here, her part-time salary is $35,000, thereabout. And other trustees are making around $12,000. Do we really feel like these people are the people that are going to lead us in the way that they should lead us? I mean, we've got proof already. We've got proof already. Your mealy mouth statement that you keep reading every time you read this well-prepared statement, that's offensive. You're telling us that you have to balance the needs of the businesses and the citizens. Where was the balance of the needs of Mary Alice Love when, on the day that she was murdered by your officer? What was that? The last time I was here, you told me that you can't fire Chris Brigano because of policies that are in place. Who created those policies? Honestly, who created them? You did. You did. And please, I know you're the new chief. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Right now, as I live, if anything were to happen in my house, I cannot call the Mundelein police because I know for a fact that I cannot expect them to treat me like they do every other citizen. Do you know how angry that makes me? I am paying property taxes, I'm paying sales, I'm paying everything that I'm supposed to pay, and yet I can't get the same services that everybody gets. What does that say? You speak of trust. You are breaking it at this very moment. At this very moment. Every time I see a Mundelein police officer, a police cruiser, guess what it does to me? Think about it. The nights that I'm up with my wife, she's getting what, 2 hours of sleep a night? Crying. What do you think that does to me? What do you think that does to her? What do you think it does to the rest of the family? We keep coming here. You have written demands that we provided each of you. And if you don't have a copy, by the way, a new chief, I'm talking to you, yes. If you don't have a copy, we will provide it to you. So do let us know if you need the copy of the document that we provided everybody. You are all a disgrace. I'm embarrassed to be a Mundelein citizen with this type of leadership.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Anderson. I am a resident of Mundelein. My husband and I moved here in 2021. We moved here after living most of my life in Texas, and I was ecstatic to move here. And the reason I was multiple reasons. One, the weather. Two, I thought I was moving to a place where there were more progressive values. There were people who cared about other people in a way that I knew underlying in Texas, many did not. And I've seen a lot of that since I've been here. I came to my very first town meeting ever in my whole life a month ago. And I came because of the T5 data center, which I promise you, you are not done hearing about. I decided to stay because I wanted to hear what the rest of the citizens that I live with had to say. And I was absolutely devastated to hear one after another members of Mary Alice Love's family get up here and tell what happened to their family member. I had not heard a word, a peep about that happening. They live 5 minutes from me. They are my neighbors. I went home and looked up a very short article that one of their family members mentioned had some untruths in it, or clearly there was a bias to it. It was very obvious. If I had not heard them speak, I would have had the article that I had to dig through Google to find as the only voice for what happened. I also saw the video. I don't know if it's still up. I didn't check because I could not watch it more than once. I did not need to. This family does not know me. I am not here. Well, someone just handed me this pin in the line, thank you. I am here because they are citizens of this town. They are my neighbors. And watching that video will never leave me. There was not a warning call out. There was not even as much as a lunge forward, a taser. There were four gunshots immediately. That is insane.
Yes.
That is insane. Part of my life, I also grew up in Germany. Someone I call my sister, has been a member of the German Polizei for the last 25 years. Last time I was there visiting, I talked to her about police work in Germany versus police work in the United States. She carries a gun. I asked her how often they train with their weapons, and she said, monthly. I asked her how many times she has ever pulled her weapon on the job, and she said, not one time. And it is considered a huge failing by a member of the Polizei there to ever have to pull their weapon. They do not want to use them. And I think that most people on most police forces do not want to. But the training that happens in this country around firearms, and that you just put them in the hands of someone that has as little as 6 weeks of training and then have them walk into someone's home to de-escalate a social call. I heard her mother on that. I saw her mother on that video as well. It was very obvious that she was terrified to even call the police because she was afraid of what would happen. And what I'll never get out of my head is that woman standing here and saying that she didn't know how to live with herself because she made the phone call that caused this to happen to her daughter. I will never forget that. And that's what I think every time I see a Mundelein police cruiser now. I think of Mary Alice Love and her mother. And I hate that. I've never had an issue with the police. I've never stood in front of a group of people and asked you to do the right thing. But this is so cut and dry. It is so obvious from someone who has no connection to it. I came back here tonight because one of their family members said, I will be here every week until something is done, and they had that list of demands. And I was hoping tonight that I didn't have to come up here and speak, because I was hoping I would come, and if there were family members here, it was them thanking you for doing the right thing, because it is so obvious. And I hate that I had to come up in here and speak tonight. Do the right thing by my neighbors.
Hello. Wow, it's going to be really tough to follow these speakers tonight. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Amy Frick. I reside in Grays Lake, and I'm a beekeeper here in Lake County, and in fact have bees here in Mundelein. I keep bees not for the honey or for any money to be made. I do it because I care deeply about the future of our environment and our communities. I'm here tonight because what happened in Grays Lake should concern every municipality in Lake County, not simply because of one data center, but because of the process. I understand that the T5 project is not within Mundelein's boundaries. I also understand that this board had no authority over Grays Lake's decision. But you do have a voice, and tonight I'm asking you to use it. Please make a public statement or pass a resolution affirming that the Village of Mundelein supports transparency, regional collaboration, and careful review before additional hyperscale data centers are approved anywhere in Lake County. The impacts of these facilities do not stop at municipal boundaries. Power infrastructure doesn't stop, air quality doesn't stop, noise doesn't, and environmental impacts certainly do not stop. As a beekeeper, I am especially concerned about our pollinators. Honeybees and other native pollinators are already under tremendous pressure from habitat loss pesticides, disease, and climate stress. Large industrial developments add even more pressure through habitat fragmentation, heat generation, diesel backup emissions, and the loss of green space. Every decision we make about land use affects the ecosystems that support our food supply and our quality of life. My greatest disappointment with the T5 project wasn't simply the outcome, it was the lack of broad public engagement. Meeting the minimum legal notifications requirements is not the same as meaningful transparency. Projects with regional impacts deserve regional conversations. Be part of that conversation tonight, Mundelein. Tonight I'm asking Mundelein to lead by example. Show your residents, your neighboring communities that transparency matters, that collaboration matters, and that protecting the long-term quality of life in Lake County and Mundelein matters. Your voice carries weight. Please use it. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on, letting me speak. I think there's a lot to address with this data center because now the AI industry is single-handedly propping up the entire global economy. There's only really two paths forward. Worst case scenario, turns out it's all a bunch of malarkey, the bubble pops in spectacular fashion. Trillions of dollars of investments cannot be paid out and everything goes up in flames and everybody feels the effects except for the people who caused that bubble in the first place. Or scenario number two, the best one, a few billionaires get even richer, which is, as stupid as it sounds, the best case scenario here. According to nationwide surveys, people largely do not like AI and are worried about the future it imposes. It's currently being used to make a bunch of promises that nobody asked for. However, the main appeal comes from corporations who see advancements in AI as a way to further reduce their dependence on human labor. The only thing cheaper than outsourcing jobs is eliminating them altogether. That's the eventual goal and why they're pouring billions of dollars into Nadiva chips, data centers, and God knows what else. In the meantime, we're stuck with ChatGPT, a humanized Google search designed to affirm whatever belief you share with it, even if that belief is incredibly dangerous. Or generative video apps that are already being used to trick people into thinking something happened that didn't actually happen. Great technology, I know. I'm so glad this exists. And the best way to get around AI to fight back is to simply not engage with it. But the problem with that is, even if you don't use these tools, building this data center is going to cause us to pay for them financially and with our lifestyles. There's been a lot of great investigative journalism done into these AI data centers popping up around the country, who's funding them and who's getting screwed over in the process. For example, residents of New Jersey who noticed their power bill kept going up even though they were using less electricity than normal. Well, it's because of the overall supply costs. I'm sure you're all aware that when total electricity goes up in an area, power companies tend to pass the extra costs onto their customers. And for the past several years, electricity use has skyrocketed, with over half of that increase, 60% more accurately, coming from these data centers. Your utility bill is going to go up because Elon Musk wants to pretend to have a girlfriend. So, you see, AI doesn't just exist in some theoretical space. It has to be trained on trillions of gigabytes of data, and that data has to be stored in a physical location. To power this, it requires an absurd amount of electricity, which generates an absurd amount of heat, which then requires an absurd amount of water to cool off. Most of these buildings use over 1 million gallons per day, roughly the equivalent of 10,000 people. But they're pretty efficient about it because not only do they waste the water, they also poison it. This isn't like the water cycle you learned in 3rd grade. This isn't saying matter can't be created or destroyed. Those are true. However, when the water exits the data center, the form it's in, the amount of money and resources it takes to turn it back into normal drinkable water is so much, it's just not even worth it for how much they use. Every part about this process is wasteful and destructive, and this is only the beginning. AI is a relatively new phenomenon, so we're only just starting to see the effects. However, the United States Department of Energy projects that over the next 3 years, the percentage of electricity used by these data centers is going to triple. and we are the ones who have to pay for it. It's hard for me to accurately express how infuriating this is. These giant buildings that power this stupid technology are being subsidized by people who just happen to live near them. It's going to be all of us soon. Oh, but hold on, they're technically contributing to the operating costs, so does that mean we get a share in eventual profits? No, of course not. Think of us as involuntary investors doing it for free. Actually, no, worse than free, because the amount of people kept awake at night by the deafening hum endlessly emitting from the factory shoved into the backyard of their homes that have now surely plummeted in value as a result. But hey, at least they're doing all of this to make a product that hopes to replace 80% of humanity. I am 19 years old. I turn 20 in a week. I am up here because I am going to be one of the few people in this room to live to see the true consequences of this. Schwenk, your son, Nick, we were great friends for a while, middle and high school. He's still a cool guy, just kind of had a falling out, nothing to it. He's gonna see that too. All of you with kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever, anybody in your family who is Gen Z and younger, it's going to watch this world wither away all of its clean water and air solely for profit. And they are going to see that happen knowing that you contributed to that fall.
Hi, my name is Erin. I'm a resident of Mundelein. I don't have anything prepared. This is my third meeting today. I'm here in opposition of the T5 data center in Grays Lake. I just left Warren Township meeting, and I can tell you that their transparency is amazing compared to what I see here in Mundelein and in Grays Lake. We were having real conversations, and the room was probably, just as big, about half as many people. And we were conversing about this, about how we can stop the T5 data center, the ways that the community can get involved, the amount of work that the township can or cannot put into this, and the ways that they can also help us as residents or neighbors of what is happening in Grays Lake. So I'm asking you today to please be more transparent in the future. Communicate back and forth with us. Consider that at your meetings, because you're going to get a lot more respect and a lot less pushback, really, if we can all communicate together as a community. Apparently, we're right now the second largest municipality in Lake County, second to Waukegan. Let's start acting like we know each other. We're gonna have a lot more people moving in thanks to our housing boom. And really, at this point, we don't talk to each other as a community. I sent an email last night, and I asked Mayor Robin Meyer, and I asked Trustee Daniel Juarez to please answer some questions about the T5 data center and whether they knew about it ahead of time or not. I'm gonna read that email in part. So I said, I'm writing today as a concerned resident of Mundelein. As you may know, I have been actively working with the Lake County, Illinois Data Center Opposition Coalition regarding stopping the build of the T5 data center in Grays Lake. While I understand you, Mayor Meyer, have stated that the Village of Mundelein does not have any legal standing in whether or not the data center gets built, we are still very concerned. We want to find out how the village can officially oppose of the data center as a municipality, declare that data centers are a nuisance, and oppose ever having them within our community. That's something that I would like to ask you to respond to. And I did receive a short response from Daniel. I have not received anything from Mayor Meyer. In moving forward in my email, I'm asking you, as stated earlier today, Trustee Juarez, I understand you are opposed and we thank you for your declaration. I am asking you now to consider doing research on the negative effects that this data center will have on our health, our environment, our housing market, and bring it to the agenda for a future Board of Trustees meeting. In regards to the housing market, We have a lot of new developments coming in, and currently, in the last heat wave, I received a text, an email, and a phone call from ComEd every single day asking me not to use my air conditioning. Okay, I'm 42. I'm not turning that off. Okay, I will pay for my water. I will pay for my electricity, but I will not pay for T5 to come in and use all of our resources and cause things like asthma, COPD, reproductive health issues. Okay, I'm here. I will use my utilities and I will pay for them happily. But I would like for you all, to officially oppose the T5 data center, ever having it in our community considered a nuisance, and please take a stance against the Village of Grace Lake for what they've done to us, their neighbors.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I'm a resident of Mundelein, and I'm here speaking for the second time. And while it's hard to maintain the level of emotion and anger that I have felt, I will not stop speaking about this issue, and I'm disappointed at the silence from this board and other representatives. You've asked for patience during the investigation, but how long are we expected to wait sitting with our grief, anger, and fear? An investigation into officer conduct on one day should not preclude you from taking common sense action now. It should not delay this board from expanding available resources for mental health crisis response. Yes. It should not stop the police department from publicly sharing their understanding of reasonable use of force and making a commitment to review them with the public. Yes. The Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, ICJIA, shares a use of force continuum on their website that works like this. At the lowest level, when police are interacting with a compliant citizen, verbal commands are appropriate. If the citizen is passively resistant, use of force expands to include contact controls such as holds or handcuffs. If that resistance becomes active, physical compliance techniques can be used. If the citizen is assaultive and presents risk of bodily harm, then less than lethal methods can be employed. It is only when the citizen is assaultive to the level of deadly harm that deadly force is required. Consider the level of force used by Officer Bergano on May 11th through that lens. Mary Alice's mother was compliant. No use of force was justified against her. Mary Alice, by virtue of being behind a door, did not present an active threat. The knives could be seen as a threat of bodily harm, but even then the level of force is non-lethal. Illinois law is clear. Public Act 102-0028, enacted in 2021, includes this in Section 7-5. Where feasible, a peace officer shall, prior to the use of force, make reasonable efforts to identify himself or herself as a peace officer and to warn that deadly force may be used. On May 11th, no warning was given. The law required one. That's a fact. The ICJIA also shares research on mental illness and use of force. A 2015 report found that people with untreated mental illness were 16 times more likely to be killed by police than other civilians. And in 2018, a study found that almost a quarter of police fatalities involved people with mental health illness. We know these patterns. We knew them before Mary Alice Love was killed. What policies and procedures are in place in Mundelein to prevent this from happening? I am not the only one asking this question, but there are more who should be. I looked beyond our local reps and found only more silence. Congressman Brad Schneider commented publicly within 5 days to condemn the anti-Semitic vandalism at a synagogue in Vernon Hills. And that was the right thing to do. But it has now been 2 months since Mary Alice Love was killed, and Congressman Schneider has made no public comment. Come on. Neither have our senators or our representative to the Illinois State House. Only one elected official, State Senator Adrian Johnson, the only Black official, has spoken at all. Silence is a choice, and we see who is making it and in what situations. This board can make a different choice. You can provide public updates on the investigation on the village website, not buried in meeting minutes. You can commit to expanding mental health crisis response now. You can direct the police department and the new chief of police to publicly review their use of force policies. None of that requires the investigation to be complete. What it requires is the will to lead. I will continue to speak. I will keep saying her name. Mary Alice Love deserved better, and so does this community.
Can't just sit there and do nothing. You can't just sit there and do nothing. That's right.
Brotha Blanks, Black Abolition, founder and chief president of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. And look at the diversity of your citizens here. When I look out there against the wall at your police officers, I do not see a reflection of your community. I haven't seen one black officer 5 times that I've been to this meeting whatsoever. As I said before, you have a lack of diversity, you have no sensitivity. I'm going to speak to you all from the position as a former DMZ police who patrolled the demilitarized zones of Korea for a year. Your police officer on that day, Chief, violated every aspect of what we consider as rules of engagement. Your standard operating procedures, everything that he did spoke against that. He should have been fired day one. I understand unions, and I understand what the unions are designed to do. Speaking from the perspective of a past vice president of Union Local 152 Retiree Council, I respect what unions are about, what they do to keep people safe. But when we're talking about humanity, and we are talking about the protection of life, you guys got to do something better, because if you do not get more diversity in your police force, and from what I see from the board, from what I see from your village board, one would assume that there is no black people that live in Mundelein.
All right.
You got to do something better to be a part of the solutions of this country. 250 years of this country have just celebrated in this history. Police brutality and excessive force is ingrained in the blood of this country, in this land. What are you all going to do to make a difference going forward? We all have to work together to be a part of the solution, but right now you all are doing more to be a part of the problem.
Yes.
I'm just speaking on experience. I've fought these issues of excessive force and brutality for more than 30 years. And every time I come, I see the lack of diversity, the lack of inclusion, but more importantly, you guys, Mayor, I heard you open up and say, well, we have to think about everybody else and all the people that have died. Mayor, respectfully, we're not here to talk about everybody. We're here to talk about this one young woman. So we're not going to undermine what this family here is about, to talk about everybody else until we get some resolutions for this family right here and get some inclusion. Do the right thing, y'all. Do it right. You the new chief, take a look at your excessive force policies. Hopefully you don't have any. But we definitely need to take a look at your rules of engagement, because that officer violated every aspect of rules of engagement. If there was a black officer somewhere involved, I would like to think it would have been handled with more sensitivity. Actually, and nobody want to make it a black and white thing, but it is a fact that when you have a more inclusion of your citizens in this community, you have more sensitivity for every citizen of your community. And that young woman wouldn't have been shot as quick as she was without any concerns or regard for your rules of engagement.
Thank you.
My name is Marcus Curran. I've lived here for 20 some odd years. Mary Alice was my aunt. what keeps coming to my mind is justice, right? Any of you guys like philosophy? In the Republic, Plato wrote that justice is doing one's own work. That's the only way a republic can stand, is if everybody does what they need to do for the republic to be itself and exist and perpetuate its existence. Everything that officer did was not his job. That's nobody's job. Nobody has that job. With that, I'm asking you all to do your jobs. And maybe half of you aren't being paid enough or whatever to be a human or whatever, but you're here. And when people ask you, you probably say you work for the Village of Mundelein. You don't, you work for these people here. You work for Mary Alice Love, you work for my family. You work for people, you don't work for a city. A city doesn't live, a city doesn't breathe. People do, and people make this town.
You're right. Take your time.
You have to remember the people. You are also people, in case you were wondering. The people you live with, the people you go to work with every day, those people matter to you. My aunt matters to me. She matters to these people. These people go home to people who matter to them. If they need help, they need to be able to call somebody, right? Just like you would. This is unacceptable. And I know you've had the job for 10 minutes. Like,
Good luck.
your job now is to change a culture. You guys have the chance to be on the right side of history. And it can start with you, to be honest. You are going to create the atmosphere, just like the fellow who was sitting in that seat did before, right? So I'm asking you to be a human. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony McIntyre. I am the founder and CEO of the Ant Mound Foundation. We are a local, national, nonprofit organization that focuses on violence prevention, conflict resolution, and strangely, de-escalation. My organization has been in existence for some time now. I'll be honest with you guys. My background has put me in a position over the years where I've had times where I was sort of anti-cop. As time is going on, I'm no longer that. I've studied a little bit. I've done my homework. And in doing so, I've come to realize that fairness is a word that needs to be really applied across the board when you're doing the work that we do. Nobody wants to talk about the big R word, which is racism. But this system that we have is full of it. And you put those two together, you have systemic racism. It comes out in the policies that are put in effect by legislative bodies like this one. It is sad to the point, I'm a man, I'm a grown man. I came in here with prepared words and everything, and I can't even pass this out to you guys because the topic is so deep that it's difficult for men to be able to say that we don't have any emotion in situations like this, but we're not supposed to be emotional, right? But I'm telling you guys, this is a very touching and touchy subject, because all around the country, as the Ant Mile Foundation functions, we see too many stories, too many incidents, too many mothers' tears, and for that matter, these days, too many fathers' tears that are coming from us being forced in this atmosphere, this political atmosphere that we have right now, where it's okay to snuff out the life of our people. It's unfair.
It's not right.
It absolutely is not right. And the pain that these family members feel is real. And there's a human component to this that I pray that you guys will get to a point where you grab. And I've heard it several times here tonight, what if it was your family member? And I would love to think, all of the different people up here, that if you guys were in a position where a family member of yours at the end of the night was taken out of a home on a gurney, and you had to do all of the stuff that it takes to put them to rest, and you knew that it was preventable. You knew that all it took to prevent it was a good person being properly trained. I wonder if you would understand much better what the Love family is feeling.
I'm wondering too.
I'm all the way up in a different part of this county, and this message came to me so swiftly about what happened to this family. And I felt like it was my family. I think they call that empathy. And from an empathetic perspective, it now makes me go into my job. My job with the Ant Mile Foundation makes me say, not only to the new chief, but also to you all, we have to be willing to work together to make change when we see something wrong. But what happens when you don't see that something is wrong? What about when you think the status quo is okay? It won't work right for a person like me, for an organization like mine, for individuals like these that are out here in the audience to come in and want to reach out a hand and say, listen, we want to work with you. It won't work right if you guys don't stick your hand back out to grab it. There are organizations around here, there are places around here, people around here that want to see everybody prosper and everybody do better. I am saying to you guys, you have to be willing to stick out your hand to seek the help. First, acknowledge it. Acknowledge the problem.
Yes.
If you won't acknowledge that there's a problem in the first place, we'll never get to the second part.
They can't even do that.
And I'm saying that something as simple as saying that I see where you're coming from, I understand where you're coming from. It'll go a long ways to make these people say, you know what, when I come and step, I'm telling you, I came into this city just now and I passed two cars. And listen, my background, it makes me a little antsy when I'm around anything that I view as a threat. It used to be a time where threats that I was expecting and used to were that of ones in the streets. Now, to drive through a community and come upon a police car and have any feeling that there's danger there.
That's our life.
That's a feeling. I don't know if any of you have ever felt it. This is not just talk. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, this is what I feel. And I have individuals that come to my office on a daily basis, and they say to me, what am I supposed to do when I feel this way? And I have to give them a script that came from something I read, because it's what I'm supposed to do, right? I have to make them feel better. I don't want to lie to these individuals coming into my office. I want to be able to tell a person, that, listen, when you go into Mundelein, you're okay. When you go to the police for help, you're going to receive help. I would love to be able to do that. I don't know anyone in the Mundelein Police Department. Now, mind you, in the work that I do, I'm forced to work with law enforcement across the board. Almost every police chief in this county I've worked with on some level at some point in time. Right? It's what I want to do, it's a part of the job. And as it stands right now, I see us in the CBO world, community-based organization world, I see us not much different than you all, state reps and state senators or whatnot. We have a constituency. There are people that come into our offices that ask us the same way that I might ask my state rep or my state senator, listen, can you help me? They come to us like that. I see that there are some of them here that have been speaking. They come here with a strong voice for the purpose of saying, listen, we want help from you to make it better. And if you are willing to give that to us, please let us know. We'll only know when we receive a phone call. Some people feel like because of positions that they're in, like you have to be the person that we all come to. Like you can't call us and say, listen, can we work with you and can you help with anything? You won't see it for real. My hope, my prayer, I won't take up much more of your time, is that you guys will get to a point where you see us as equals. You all are not my superior.
Nope.
Nobody here is your superior. We're fellow citizens. There's a level of equality in the phrase when you think about it. And if you see us that way, you won't feel like just because you're in a position that you are, that it somehow means that you can't talk to us like we're just like you. And I tell people all the time, be careful because today it's me, tomorrow it could be you.
Yep.
And if you respect that thought, it will make you think twice before you do anything that you do that can affect so many people. So I will leave you with that. I will say that if there is ever a time that I am able to, my nonprofit organization is able to help anyone here on this council, board, please give us a call. If you want the help, ask for the help. Because I want the help, and I'm asking you for the help. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jeffry Love. Mary Alice was my daughter. Johnny and Veteran are our other two children. I didn't come here to speak tonight. I came to just listen. But when I came in and the town hall meeting was about to begin. And I was looking around, happy to see the faces that I saw, other than your stone faces, that is. And I heard the mayor say something that prompted me to just burst into tears. You had the audacity to sit there and woman to woman, I'm gonna tell you, you don't tell me how to breathe. I don't care about what you think, but you should keep some of what you think to yourself. Because when you sit there and tell us that we have to move on, that we should grieve a certain way, how dare you? You lose your joy. Because you know what? I was at a dinner party last night and we prayed for the officer that killed my daughter. We did that because we are human beings and we know the man above. So don't let me come here again and hear you tell me how to grieve until you have walked in my shoes. I watched one of your officers shoot my child while denying me the opportunity to hold my baby. All I wanted to do was to hold her because I couldn't stop him from shooting her. I asked that they didn't do that. I was trying to get to Mary Alice, and they pulled me back. They pulled me back. They almost knocked me to the floor in my family room, a room that I don't even call family room anymore because you guys took it upon yourself to send an idiot to my house. An idiot that took my baby's life and then would not give me the decency to hold my baby. Maybe if I could have just said, Mary Alice, it's gonna be okay. This is after 4 shots. 2 in the chest and 3 in the abdomen. Yes, he shot her 4 times. Don't tell me how to grieve.
And you sit here doing nothing. You should
Don't
face
it. And I saw it the first time I attended this village hall meeting, and I felt like each one of you had a sheet on you. You don't have to make it about race, but I see you. See me. Because you know what? I was there that day. I was there when they shot my baby. A baby that I spent 7 months on bed rest to bring into this world. And I tried everything in my power to give her everything that I could. I said to a niece one day that I got too comfortable, that I worked hard. I sent my kids to school. I gave them a good life, tried to put them in a decent home. But you want to tell me that we don't have the right? The hell with you.
Thank you.
The hell with each one of you.
Yes.
And that officer that killed my baby, yeah, I prayed for him, but I want him to have justice. I want justice for Mary Alice.
Yes.
I want a law that says that mental health people are people too. I want a law that says that my baby did not die in vain. I want a law that says that because a child is having a bad day, that doesn't mean you lock them up in a room or deny them for being in your family. Your niece might not have a seat at your table at Thanksgiving, but she can come to my house. You know why? Not only because my food is better, but because she will be welcome. We welcome people. You don't have to have a mental health issue for people to look at you and pretend that you don't exist, like that officer did the day he killed my baby. Like this mayor did today when she's gonna presume to tell me how to grieve. That's right, thank you, move your clock, because I have something to say. I am a grieving mother, so I want the news to see you make me sit down. Because you know what? You can't hurt me any more than you already have. You've taken away one of my children. I am a Leo by birth, and I will fight to the end. You can call me Tiger Woman if you want to after tonight, because I'm going to fight for Mary Alice with every breath in my body. I am not going anywhere. And I want to say, I'm about to put Mundelein on the map. Yes, sir, I'm going to put you on it. And it won't be for good things. It's going to be for murdering my 37-year-old daughter, who was having, as my husband said, a bad day. Mundelein, get ready, because I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. That's right.
Mary Alice. Mary Alice.
Mary Alice. That's right.
Mary Alice Love.
Jayla Jackson, and I live in Mundelein. Last time I was here, I was very angry. I thought that I had to come with a prepared and organized speech, convincing you all to be human. But before I start, I have 2 demands. When I speak, I want you all to show me the same respect that I show you when I come up here. And that should be for every single person that comes up here, including my family. I don't want nobody on their phones. I don't want nobody looking into the air, walking out. That's disrespectful. Mary Alice was a literal angel in my life. When my mom died, Mary Alice tried everything she could to take me into her hands. She got me into bettering my mom, who I was eventually adopted by. But Mary Alice loved my brother and I as if she gave birth to us, which she never did. She literally saved my childhood. She was everything to me. Standing in that line, preparing to come up here, literally made me sick. May 11th, I got a text, and I'm in school, I'm in college. I come down, and I get a text that Mary Alice has been shot. I didn't ask no questions. I had on some raggedy clothes, and I got in my car, and I was doing like 90 the whole way. I was expecting to at least see Mary Alice in her bed, thinking maybe she'll have an IV on her, a breathing system on her, thinking that she'll be fine. Just to get to the hospital and literally be stuck in the cold. No, I don't think y'all understand, like it was freezing. And not knowing what happened that night, not knowing if she was still alive, hurt. Walk in there, we can't even see her. Just for there to be like 5 or 6 cops still standing outside of our room as if we had a criminal. As if a criminal has done something for a whole hospital to be locked down, where there are still other patients that need to be in need of help. I feel sick having to be this vulnerable in front of strangers that I don't know. But luckily God gave me that power to have control over my emotions. But I am utterly disappointed in every single one of you. I know you just got here, but it literally feels like Hunger Games. Like we have to convince you all, like we have to dance and twirl around for you all to actually listen to us. What more do you all want from us? Like there's literally nothing more we can do. We have literally had to go out to other organizations ourselves to make this more known because it wasn't known at all. Nobody from Mundelein, Vernon Hills, Libertyville were aware of this. Shame on all of you all.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
I'm Zakee. I'm here I'm here in 2 or 3 different capacities. I'm here to support the Love family as a citizen, as a leader in the community, and as a black man. And I want to be on the record to say that this police department, Mundelein Police Department, the way y'all handle that call, you blew it on every level. From the call in to the dispatch, all the way down to the way the mom was treated after she was shot, you blew it, big time. People came up here and talked about AI, and I will say this here, AI, internet, social media. Because of that, Mundelein will always be known for this. And all these people here, the door is open on your city now. The door is open on your political process. It's open for people to peek in and watch how y'all conduct business. The new police chief, you have a big problem on your hands because you're inheriting a system that was put in place going all the way back to slavery. And I'm pretty sure municipalities have done their part to make it better, but it's still antiquated, it's weak, it's racist, it's wanting on so many levels. And like Mr. McIntyre was saying, even when I came here from Waukegan, Zion, Illinois, driving through 4 or 5 cities to get here. When I got to Mundelein, I felt the same way he did. I'm not a criminal, I haven't done anything wrong, but it's the feeling that we get coming into these type of cities that y'all got set up. I'm looking at the police like Brotha Blanks said, I'm looking at the body here. I feel like a stranger in the land that my family slaved for. okay? So I just want to say this, that Black Lives Matter, Lake County, support the family. Anything you need us to do to help get justice, but there need to be justice. The police officer, I don't know his name, but I can say this, he's probably chilling, paid leave.
Yep.
You know,
He needs to be fired.
living his life with all the protections that's due to him with
By
this
these
system.
people. By these
I understand
very
legalities, I understand the law, but the family don't get the same protection, the same system, the same ease. And before I finish, the mayor, the statement you made about your niece was disgusting, horrible, and I never thought I would hear a sitting mayor say those things about their family. You airing out dirty laundry, you giving her a bad name, and all she did, was had the courage to come to the protest, to come to the demonstration and speak from her heart. She could barely speak. She was overcome by emotion, but I would give her credit for courage. Now, whatever family issues is that's going on at home in the family, I feel that should have been kept in the family. And I didn't know who you were, but I lost respect for you when you did that.
Yes.
And hopefully your family, you and your family can find a way to fix it. But it was disgusting, and I'm thinking to myself, is that the mayor of Mundelein? That's who's leading the city? Then you have trouble. So I just wanted to come here, say my piece, and I'm glad the mom went before me because you gave me the power and the passion that I needed, because I didn't know what I was going to say, how I was going to say it, but you gave me the words and the power to say it. And I will say to Mundelein, you guys got to do better, because this is your defining moment. This is it right here. And you will forever be known how you handle this. It will go down in history. AI, the internet, social media, and maybe robots may come along in the future, and they're going to regurgitate what happened. And you guys have a chance to make it better, to fix it, to at least make sure that it does not happen again.
All right.
Hello everybody, my name is Ralph Peterson. I would like to start out by, Mayor, I had seen on the city website, your words are, I quote, you stated that, here I want to get right on the money here. And people, this is on the city website. Mayor, you put on there, with your energy, you're speaking to us, the mayor is speaking to us. Voice and collaboration, we can build a future that reflects the best of Mundelein. I am committed to our community, prioritizing transparency and growth.
Please.
Oh, shit. I've got to speak on that.
Please.
Mayor, that kind of disturbed me a little bit when I read that, because my first thoughts were, and you don't even have to go into the legality of the case, whether the officers were right or wrong, but there's no way you haven't shown any sympathy, empathy, or compassion towards the family. And like I say, you don't have to go into the case with them, but this woman lost the fruit of her womb in a tragic way in front of her. And yet you've not said one thing to the family. So I ask you sincerely, please, please stand by your words. There's no way there should be zero communication with this family. And that's where it stands right now. You could have assured the family that there will be transparency, accountability,
and justice.
And justice also. But again, I must say, you said nothing to them. So I'm begging you, please stand by your words. That's on the city website. Mayor, it doesn't take a Harvard degree to understand why the chief quit.
Coward.
You know why he quit, because he knows this is all ugly and wrong. You can see it, it's all ugly and wrong. I stand before you today with not soft shoe talk, but with plain, truthful talk. Mundelein, under this administration, is playing with fire. And I truly mean what I'm saying. You guys are playing with fire. And my reasons for saying so is because there's gonna be consequences. Right now, we can get on top of things, and the consequences are not gonna be good. We all know nationwide, Alice Love did not cross her threshold, and she was shot down, not once, but 4 times in her home by an untrained officer who went to his most deadliest force. Ma'am, there was so many levels he could have went to before he went there. That's the last resort right there. There have been taser, pepper spray, billy club, even high-powered shotgun rifle. Even at Roddy, he had zero respect for that woman who was only having a mental crisis. This is, it breaks me up. Now this really gets me because all of you know for real. If you were in your home and your kid was by the door and someone hollered out, there's a guy out there with a knife, the first thing you would tell, Susie, Jimmy, lock the door. None of the officers had common sense to lock the door. These are trained officers. And they couldn't even lock the door. That would have prevented all of that. That officer should be fired immediately. It's gotta be hard to consider yourself a Christian. Something as simple as, I'm telling you, it almost broke me down to tears when I went over there. A big latch, not a little jiggamadingy thing, a big white latch. This is all the officers had to do. Push it down like you would have told your kid, baby, lock the door and get away from it. None of the officers had that much sense. I'm a prayer that we can sit down together and do what is right. And the first thing that would be is to fire the officer for taking the soul. Of a beautiful human being who was having a mental crisis. Mayor, this is not gonna go away. It's not. Believe me, I'm in the know. Eric, this is not going away, brother. I am the know. I sit at the tables a few times a week. Right now, this is basically, and I'm being totally truthfully and honest with all of you, this is pretty much on the local level. You've heard the other organizations that got up here and say, the one gentleman, I think you're from another state, and there's several here. This thing is gonna grow, and it's gonna get out of hand. The streets are gonna be filled. Right now, we have some level of control. We don't have any control of people flooding in the streets from other states. We're headed in that direction, and trust me, believe me, I'm sitting at the table. This is no idle threat. I'm telling you, we're playing with fire. Mayor, the city is at a crossroads right now. Either you can do as what was done with George Floyd, which was the wrong thing, or we can follow the route of Sonia Massey. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She's the woman whom the officer felt afraid, said she had boiling water and was gonna throw it on him. He's now doing 20 years.
Not enough.
We can follow that route, because Mayor, nobody's being fooled. It's kind of like I don't know what you guys are waiting on. It's like you're waiting for something. Everybody can see. The poor woman never stepped over the threshold. The shooting stops right here, and the threshold is right here. She never stepped up on it nor over it. And not only was she shot once, that officer had to be a pure coward. Not only once would she done this, he put 3 more in her. He is a pure coward, and there's no way any of you should be sitting here and not demanding that he's fired. It did not take 4 shots. It didn't even take 1. Again, lock the damn door. And none of that would have taken place. Today, because I want to know where you guys are coming from. I don't know with the stone face. I want to be able to say when I'm at the next meeting, these right here does not represent that the city is wrong. This doesn't represent I'm trying to say this is in the sense of the police officer. This is for mental health and to show the family that this is going to be looked upon with accountability and transparency and empathy and sympathy. I would like to give you this in the name of the Love family. Will you accept it? Will you accept it, sir?
George Saturday, you accept it.
Will you accept it?
She will be on this desk.
You're welcome. Will you accept it? And I'm almost finished. I got about maybe 60 seconds. Thank you. The family is waiting to hear from you, ma'am.
Wow.
We have to discuss the case.
Take that shit back. They just throwing this shit down.
I'm not gonna wear it. We're gonna do this the right way, sir.
Yes. It would be nice in an uncomfortable situation.
Again, I repeat, we're gonna do this the right way. Now, Mayor, before I sit down, I have maybe 60 more seconds to talk. There's many organizations, I'm gonna show you how fair, the family, they pretty much ask, after you're not saying nothing to them, there's plenty of organizations that want to hang ribbons in the public ways on trees, not on private property, but in public ways, the trees. I'm asking you, and I'm asking the board, do you have a problem with organizations hanging ribbons on the trees in remembrance of mental health and Mary Alice Love? Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with that?
They can talk.
Ma'am?
Ralph, we have a policy in the village. They can come forth and they can ask for those things to be posted, but there's a permitting process that we have to go through. So if those groups would like to do that, they can come forth at future board meetings and ask for that permission. Okay?
But what if you're a resident? I'm a resident. I have it on my trees. And I will put
And you may put them on your trees in your property,
neighbors
but on public property and in the right of ways, we have a permitting process, which we'll be happy to entertain.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Do they have a problem? Because some of them are coming.
All they have to do is apply and come through, and the board will hear it, and then the permissions will be given.
Now you care about rules?
We're here now.
All right, thank you.
All of a sudden now we got rules. We have rules.
So please, sir, please, can I speak? So Mayor, as I close, I read your words, and I say this not being vicious, your actions are not matching them. You said nothing to this poor family. And really, I think every night, can any of you imagine, I know you gotta have kids, can you imagine your kids being gone, man, in front of you like that, that's not right. Mayor, you can speak with the family. It doesn't even have to be in reference of the case, because it makes us think you're afraid of them like that coward who shot that woman 4 times. That's all I have to say.
Woo. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mary Alice Love.
Mary Alice Love.
My name is Anjanetta Frison. I want to acknowledge that this incident has deeply impacted the Love family, the officers involved, the entire Mundelein community, as well as Lake County. I am not a blood relative, but that's my family. And I'm gonna be here, and we all gonna be here to support this family. What I wanna talk about is, regardless of where anyone stands after watching the body camera footage, one thing is clear. A woman was experiencing a mental health crisis. She lost her life. That should weigh heavily on all of us. My request to the village, the police department, welcome sir, is to continue to be transparent, continue to communicate with the public, and use this tragedy as an opportunity to strengthen your response to mental health crisis. Now, I was out in the hallway and I heard somebody say that you actually have staff. I don't know if that staff was dispatched that particular call. If you don't have somebody on staff, I think that should be one of the demands that is also included. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Our community deserves trust, accountability, and confidence that every reasonable effort will be made to preserve life whenever possible. I'm not gonna repeat all of the redundancies we've heard tonight about all of the protocols that we could have did, should have did, would have did. I'm hoping that through independent investigations, through reviewing policy, protocol, training, that we can get to a place where this doesn't happen again. You know, Mary Alice should be here. We could be spending our time talking about the data centers, right?
For the same stuff we are.
You know, absolutely, absolutely. And I also want to piggyback, Brotha Blanks stole all my thunder, because I also did a little research on the demographics of Mundelein. 45% non-Hispanic, white. 34.6 Hispanic or Latino. 10% Asian. 3% non-Hispanic Black. 3.7 multiple races. I believed when I was coming into this village meeting, I would see a little bit more diversity because the community, the demographics reflects that. But it's not just the folks up here. There was a lot of people of color and different ethnicities that are sitting in the audience. We have to start running for some of these offices and these positions. You don't need a college degree, right?
Nope.
Sometimes you just need common sense. You need compassion. You need to care about your community.
Yes.
You need to have values that align. You know, we need to do away with the politics. At the end of the day, we care about living. We care about having safe neighborhoods. We care about how our kids are getting educated. We care about taxes. Those are the things that we need to be talking about. But public safety is paramount. I'm not leaving. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna support this family every step of the way. Any phone call, any text message. We hear in small numbers right now, but we can get real big.
Oh yeah.
real big.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to appreciate the time. I appreciate you hearing everybody out tonight. But we're going to be back. And hopefully when we come back, there will be some movement. There will be some communication so that we can try to see things moving forward. Again, Mary Alice Love.
Mary Alice Love.
Thank
Say
you.
our name. Mary Alice Love. Say our name. Mary Alice Love. Say our name. Mary Alice Love. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
Attorney Kevin O'Connor, I have the privilege of representing the Love family. You're at a crossroads. You really are. I've handled a number of cases where it's went one way, and then there was marching in the streets, and bad things happen, and there's been ones where villages have stepped up and taken action. The young man talked about Plato. It's where the founding of our legal system, of our system of justice came from, Plato, Aristotle. But he forgot about the most important thing Plato frequently addressed, the idea that failing to voice opposition to societal injustice effectively means granting permission for that injustice to continue.
Yes.
That is the quote. So when you sit here and say nothing, you're agreeing with what happened.
Yes.
There's three aspects, there's more than three, but there's at least three aspects of this case. There's a criminal case that has to go through the process. This officer has to be assessed by the Lake County Task Force, has to determine if there's criminal conduct and be brought against him along with the state's attorney. There's a civil case. I understand. I'm going to be involved with this community in that civil case. But there's a third part of this case, which is administrative, which is your job. It's administrative to police your police department. This police department is appointed by you. This police department is under your control. This police department doesn't do the right actions, they need to be removed. Apparently, step one has happened. But what do you need to know? This video of what happened here should be a training video for every officer that comes through Mundelein. Because from the very beginning, there was a crisis that was completely blundered. Step one, they arrive on scene. They know that the mental health people are on the way, but despite the Watts Law, which was passed 4 years earlier, that says when there's non-emergency mental health issues, the first person to enter is supposed to be a mental health professional. That was violated. Next, they have shields. The sergeant goes in, he walks in, the first thing he does is have a conversation with the mom, ask her what's going on. As he's asking her questions, he starts talking to the other officer and ignores her as if she didn't matter, and tells him, give me your shield, and hands it to the man outside. Your only protection against a knife, a weapon, other than a gun, is that shield. Then next, you're into a family situation. What is the most hostile training you train police officers is going into a domestic situation where you don't know what you're going to counter. That is where police officers often lose their lives or individuals lose their lives. It's taught in every department. What are you supposed to do? Separate the family members. Do not let them get together because you don't know if that's going to increase the hostilities. What do? Let her lead right out to where their porch is. Let their mom lead. Then what do? Not only do they de-escalate and move it quickly and not wait for others to come, which is your time is your friend, your voice is your greatest weapon, they drag her to the ground for her to see her mom being dragged to the ground. They're escalating the situation. How can you escalate a situation when you're dealing with a mental health crisis? You can't. This officer was involved, had crisis intervention training, CIT training. That is a 40-hour course that teaches every one of these steps, and he blew it all. Then what does he do? As she's getting up to say, what are you doing to my mom? Through a door you can barely see through because it has reflective glass, he unholsters his weapon before she ever even gets to the door and has it already unlatched and ready to fire. He's standing behind a couch and shoots over the mom at her, putting not only her at risk, but his fellow officer at risk, as well as everybody else, even though he didn't give one command. Not one command.
No.
How can this happen in today's day and age if there is any bit of training going on within this department? You got a tough job, but use this video and teach these officers everything that went on in this situation was wrong. And then after that, to throw more salt on the wound to get a order for the court to search their home to try and find evidence of crime from this poor family and searching the parents' room, and then deny them access to see their loved ones in the hospital. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Good luck to you. Use this as a training video and fix this problem.
No justice! No peace! No peace! No justice! No peace! Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Hello, citizens, neighbors of Mundelein. My name is Serena Sanchez Johnson. I am a citizen of Waukegan. I did not hear about this these happenings until last night, and because I have a deep empathy for my neighbors and I have family who I think about when I see the way, the family grieving. I know that your family has been taken from you, but the love is not lost. And I speak as somebody who's been through a mental health crisis themselves and who's almost taken their life before. And I love my grandma for how she protected me and my dad, both Black people who put their life on the line and brought me into this world and continue to show me love every day I show up for you.
Take your time.
It's violent to have people come up in here and beg for their humanity and for empathy. It's violence, emotionally, physically, structurally.
Yes.
Every day that we have to live as Black people.
Yes.
Words can't describe how angry I am for you and how it comes from a place of wanting to keep people safe and loved. Back in 2018, I went through a mental health crisis myself. I had just left high school. I was unsafe to myself. My family called the police because it was the only thing they know how to do. I was lucky enough to be seen as human that day so that I could stand up here and advocate for y'all's and for Mary's. I hope that people leave this room knowing that those experiencing a crisis, in psychosis, whatever you want to call it, however you want to frame it, we are not inherently violent. We can come up to these stands and we can speak from humanity. And I see Mary's story and I think of how alone she must have felt, even with her mother trying to save her. And every day I would continue to show up for my family, for all Black people, for all Hispanic people, for everybody subjugated in this country and in the world, for deference and respect, and from the deep part of my heart that comes from God.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Will Fitzgerald. I've been living in Mundelein almost all my life. First, it was funny but incredibly morbid. The most uncomfortable I ever saw any of you was accepting those ribbons. We heard a lot of really harrowing testimonies here today, and I'm going to remember the fact that that was the most uncomfortable I ever saw any of you. I'm aware of the history of suburbs, how they were built on white supremacy, but I never really felt it until I heard about the murder of Maurice Love. I don't know why, I always kind of assumed that Mundelein was unique. It was one of those special progressive suburbs, like most of us were Latino or mixed or something. And then just to see the response and how everything played out, it's just like every other racist town in America.
Yep.
We're no different. Yeah, and I just want to say, we've talked a lot about maybe racism, but if you're white, I think most of you, yeah, I would like you to know that racism isn't always an explicit hatred. You don't have to hate Mary Alice Love or her family for your actions to be described as racist. The thing that's pushing this racist system forward is your lack of action. It's your lack of charity. And honestly, that's all it takes. You know that Benjamin Franklin quote, "Evil triumphs when good men do nothing."
Yes.
But I honestly have no idea if this is going to change anything, but you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'd like you to have the days you deserve.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aurora Flores. I want to start by just acknowledging the family of Mary Alice Love again. I was here at the last meeting. You guys have been in my thoughts and prayers every single day. I reached out to you afterwards to see, what else I could do to support. And I'm someone that has very limited resources. I have no political power in the way that you guys have. And so for myself as a community member to be able to extend what I have, I want you to see that as an example for the power that you guys have to do your part as well. And I just want to reiterate again how I did last time. I know that I am not from the city of Mundelein. I don't want that to be taken as an opportunity to be dismissive of my words. I also just want to acknowledge that, everyone in this room, the majority of these people are taxpayers. You are in your position because of them. And you do have that obligation to do right by them because of that. But I think you also have the obligation through a spiritual lens, through the lens of humanity, to listen to their demands. And I just really sit and wonder what you guys have done on your part to make the situation right. Because this family has listed clear demands for you guys. Have you gone home at night and talked about what policies you could enact that would be preventative of future instances like this? Because that should have been a conversation before her life was even taken. Have we talked about how we can have more mental health resources that are trauma-informed, how we can divest from police going into these situations and having people that are actually properly trained to address them? Are you having those uncomfortable conversations? Because let me tell you, the conversations that non-white people are having at home are incredibly uncomfortable. Black families have to talk to their children about how not to get shot by the police.
Yes.
My family has to talk about what to do if ICE shoots one of us, detains one of us. What kind of conversations are you having at your dinner table? You have a job here, and that's to, at the very minimum, think about what policies you can put into place. That's literally your position. If you are not here to do that, then I don't understand why you would waste that space up there.
Resign.
Part-time. And I've heard talk about how, Mundelein is a diverse city, and I just think we also need to put context to why Mundelein is the way that it is and why this situation happened. I know that only around 3% of the population here is Black, but that's for a reason. Mundelein, just like every other city in America, has a history of discriminatory policies like redlining. It's illegal, but people deny Black families mortgages, loans to be able to get houses. Mundelein isn't majority white just because of no reason. Nothing happens in a vacuum, everything has context. And why would I put my trust in a police force when that job originated from slave patrols that were made to enforce Black codes? Their literal job was to kill Black people, return them to slavery. That is what your job stemmed from. And maybe you didn't know that when you went into it, but you have a responsibility to look into the history of that. You all have the responsibility to look into the context that has created this situation, not just here in Mundelein, but in Waukegan with Marcellus Tennant, and Zion with Justice Howell. Because over and over again, I'm seeing Black people in Lake County be murdered. And so I don't care if I'm from Waukegan. I'm from Lake County. I live in close enough proximity to you to be very directly impacted by the consequences of your guys' decisions. And when it comes to the pins, I thank you, sir, for putting yours on right away, because let me tell you, when I was handed my pin, I instantly put it on because I wanted to be known why I'm here. I wanted to be known what I care about, what my values are. And the fact that only one of you was willing to instantly put it on, because it's one thing to accept it. Two of you, thank you. Two of you. It's one thing to accept it. It's another thing to wear it proudly, with intention and with mindfulness, and hold it in the decisions that you make moving forward. And so when you go home, I want you to think about what uncomfortable conversations are you having? Are you going out into the community to talk to your Black constituents about what policies they want to see? Because you have to go out of your way to engage people. That's your job. And if you're not going to do it, then you will be voted out. That's just the truth. And one last thing, when I was listening to the mother of Mary Alice Love talk about how her baby was stolen from her, I just think about, I'm young, I want kids one day. My greatest fear with that, though, is that the child that I put all of my love and nurturing into will be stolen from me by an officer with a gun, by an ICE agent with a gun, by a white supremacist in a mass shooting in a school. So if you have a baby, if you have a child, if you have grandchildren, when you look at them tonight, just think about that. Think about what she went through when she saw her daughter's life taken from her in front of her eyes.
In her home.
In her home.
What would you feel? And what would you do if it was your child? Do that. Thank you.
My name is Yolanda. I'm a resident of Waukegan. I received Mary's video at 5:30 today. I received the flyer, the video, and with no hesitation, I showed up here instantly. Because the way that woman was murdered was overkill.
Yes.
I have a relative that suffers from mental illness, and he lives with a relative. The moment he's manic, they seem aggressive, but they're not. Her mother could have de-escalated that situation instantly. The moment Waukegan police got there, he looked a little aggressive, but they're not. They're just manic. That officer knew how to handle it. She was not afraid. She spoke to him. Luckily, she had a relative. Luckily, her mother was bipolar, and she knew how to handle that situation. And she said, "My mother is bipolar. I know how to handle this." She took the time to use that strategy of how to escalate the situation. And I do feel your officers need a lot of training.
Yes.
Because that incident, it's a no-brainer what could have been done that day.
Absolutely.
Locking the door, instantly, ma'am, lock your door. Please, your daughter, let's try to de-escalate her. They couldn't even let her go outside where her mother go outside to de-escalate this. I came here because I have a relative that suffers from mental illness, and sometimes you do have to call the cops to get the ambulance to take them to the mental hospital, make sure that they get the treatment they need to be able to be okay the next day. So with that said, come on guys, nobody has to die because of mental illness. Everybody has problems in life, but doesn't mean that it means they have to die because of because unfortunately they're ill. And mental illness isn't really an illness, it's just something that happens to people. And it shouldn't be a burden to them. So I ask you to go home and really think about her life, her family. Her family, she meant the world. My cousin means the world to me. And when I called the cops, and if the cop would have called my cousin, I would have felt like Mary's mother. So I ask you guys to go home tonight and really think about it. Would it have been your sister, your child? How would you have felt? That cop is still in place where he's...
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth.